What's good, good people? Vets, let's talk. We got a special guest in front of the formation today, Corporal Thomas. Hey, before we get started, I'd like you guys to click that like, share, and subscribe, man. HBO special. Y'all already know. Help a
Y'all
brother
know
out.
y'all want to hit that like and subscribe, so go ahead and hit it.
They know they do, brother. They know they
Hey,
do. How you doing today, man?
hey, it's one of them days. You know what I mean? It's one of them
Right.
days.
Where you calling in from? Like, where you residing right now?
I am Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Baton Rouge. How's the weather right now?
Raining a lot, but
Raining.
what else is new?
Hey man, let me ask you a quick question, man. If I wanted to get me a nice bowl of gumbo, what's the spot will I hit up, man?
I'm gonna be real with you. All right. I
Okay.
promise you, what you do is you got to find that hole in the wall place that ain't got a website, ain't got a listing nowhere. All right. Everybody talks about, oh, hey, I know the spot. I know the spot. Nah, you don't know the spot till you can find that one grandmama who been in there since the 30s. All right.
Right.
That's who got the best gumbo.
Right. So, because I've been to Louisiana a couple of years ago. We was in a tourist area, so I kind of knew that the food wasn't gonna be popping, but I didn't know it was. I'm not gonna down it because a lot of
Hey,
people,
hey,
the reviews
hey.
say is good, but
That's because people who's actually on review sites for restaurants. Let's be honest, because I ain't on them. All right, I'm a big guy, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I love eating just as much as anybody else, but I ain't getting on a site that the food was so good. I ain't worried about all that. Look, if
right.
it's good, I know where to go.
Okay, man. Hey, let's jump into some of these questions real quick, man. I know this is a question I ask a lot of people. I know you was probably young during this question, man, but do you remember where you were, what you was doing during 9/11?
So, give you an idea of how young I am. I'm only 25, or yeah, 25, right? Yeah, 25. So at the time, I was like 4 years old, 4 years old. I remember, being at my grandparents and my mom and my grandmother. My mom got off of work early and came home like crying, and I remember all that. And it wasn't until I was in like middle school that I actually, they started teaching you about 9/11 and what all happened. And I was like, okay, and then that made me kind of angry. I don't know about you, but the idea of putting some innocent people, in the way of something that violent just pisses me off, And in 2019, I actually got to go to New York City, and I actually got to go to the memorial. And that was right after my tour in Afghanistan. And, it really kind of put everything into perspective and made me kind of feel like, maybe we are doing the right thing.
Yeah. Like I remember exactly where I was. I think I was about 19 or 20. I think around there. But I was going to the gym at the time, doing the Don thing before I joined the military. But I remember it. I remember watching the airplane hit the building. I remember it. They shut down the whole city because I'm from Chicago. They shut the city down quick.
Oh, yeah.
So let's jump into this next question. What do you remember about your days of service?
There's so much of it I just remember so vividly, from being in Afghanistan with the United Nations, and traveling all over Afghanistan, all the posts that they have under their control, out to, meeting one of my best friends that I still talk to this day in AIT, and us hiding the contraband of sorts in the ceiling. Cause I mean, let's be real. All right. You ain't gonna tell me this is what pissed me off. They was like, well, you can have coffee, but you can't have tea. And I'm like, sometimes I don't need all that caffeine. We working late at night. I don't need all that.
Right.
Then I'm just be bouncing off the wall. So I used to hide that in the ceiling, man. And oh, that was funny. Um, I remember that feeling of that first time I got home from a deployment and seeing my mom and my dad and my sister just crying and crying with them. And I remember, pinning my stripes and making a promise to myself that I'd at least take the time that I have left and make it better for my soldiers.
Hmm. That's awesome. So, like, no, okay. This story time, man. Do you have a memory that you could share? Like funny, good, bad? Like, do you have something that you can share with the
Hey,
people?
so those of you who don't know, I'm all over TikTok, right? I'm always telling stories, and I actually have one that I'm going to put into a story coming up. We had a neo-Nazi when I was in the unit with us when I was at Fort Sill. Hey, I ain't even lying, right? So I get back from one of my religious services one Sunday, and they got this like real scruffy looking kid, right? And he looks like 18, like I just turned 18 or something, you know. And he's like, "Hey, you with this unit?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm in headquarters. You know, I'm just getting back from my religious services, and you know, we hanging, you know, we just cooling." He's like, "Oh, well, you mind driving me over to the shopette? I don't have a car yet." I go, "Yeah, man, I'll drive you to the shopette." And he gets himself a case of beer, and I'm like, "All right, this kid's at least 21, right? You know, so that's fine." He goes, "You want a beer?" And I go, "Not, you know, I'm not really feeling it. You know, I'm trying to cool it." And he goes, "Nah, I got a natty light." And I'm like, "First off, hold on, wait a minute. Who drinking natty light?" All right, that ain't beer. All right. That's
Natty
just,
Light. What is that?
hey,
No.
that's what I'm saying. How you gonna be drinking natty light as your drink of choice? Like, And he pops one and he goes, "Hey, so I heard they got a lake on post." And I said, "Yeah, it's a little bit of a ways out." He goes, "You mind bringing me over there?" I was like, "You go pay for my gas when we get back." He goes, "Yeah." So we driving out there. He's asking me where I'm from and all this other stuff. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm from Louisiana. You know, I've been in for a while." And he goes, "Oh, I'm from South Carolina. And I tell you what, you know, the South is going to rise again one day." And I'm like, this man did not just say that. I was like, "Look, I know I'm from the South too, but this is some bullshit." All right, you ain't gonna catch me on that. I We all went on leave, I think for I can't remember what holiday it was. And him and a couple of my soldiers stayed behind. He was using the N-word in front of my soldiers. I was like, "Oh, this man, he got to be so bad that he couldn't even be in the barracks anymore. He had to stay at the battalion building. That
Oh, wow.
nobody wanted this man.
Wow.
He was such a piece of shit that to his platoon, to everybody, that his last day when they had to bring him to the airport. Now they didn't say you have to bring him to the airport. They just said you got to get him off post. His platoon leader and his direct line NCO got him in the van, right? They get all his stuff in there. They bring him to the right to the gate. They stop the van, throw him and his shit out, and say, "All right, have a nice walk."
Oh,
Had to
wow.
walk himself to the fucking airport.
So they just got him outside the gate.
They just got him right outside the gate, got him out, turned the van around and said, "Later."
Oh,
Like,
wow. That's wow. Hey,
Hey, this man was nuts.
you'd be surprised on how
He
many.
and come to find out later on, he was on an FBI watch list and he was in the military. I was like, "How the hell?
No crap.
What?"
I just did a video about a guy that joined the military to learn how to kill.
Yeah, I saw. I was watching that one the other day. I was like, "Yeah, that almost sounds like the guy I was talking about."
Because he was on the FBI watch list before
Hey,
he.
I got I think the funniest thing about it, and anybody who watches this who was in that unit, they'll automatically know who I'm talking about. Okay. This man got drunk one night and started texting the um the chemo. Because I mean, I'm gonna be real. The chemo was a fine officer, okay? She was fine. All right, real tall, thin, blonde, you know, let's be real. All right, real young. All right, we all like, you know, yeah, she fine, but you know, ain't none of us gonna try it. No, this man starts texting her, "Hey, what's up? I think you fine," and sends this woman a Spotify link to his fucking Spotify playlist.
Oh,
Title
wow.
like, I'm thinking about you" or something. I was like, "Oh,
Stalker vibes, huh?
bro." He was stalking like 90% of the females. I was like, "Oh, this man nuts."
Right. Hey, okay, number three. What were some fears or problems that you had transitioned out of the military?
Hey, talk about fears. I wasn't really fearful. I was a little nervous,
All right.
but I mean, at the same time, I was like, you know, I had my ACL absolutely destroyed in Afghanistan. You know, It was, and I needed to fix it. The DOD wasn't doing anything. I was going to the doctor every day, every day, every day. My knee hurts. My knee hurts. My knee hurts. It's like in my medical records 3 or 4 times from a doctor who later got out on malpractice, saying like he talked to me about my future career in the army or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I don't want your profile anymore. I'm tired of getting a profile and you giving me some 800 milligram ibuprofens. I want an MRI. I want to find out what's wrong with me. You know, and it was this constant back and forth of I need this fixed. I need this fixed. Like I can't run on this. This hurts. I wasn't the greatest runner, but I could at least pass a run
Right.
6 different ways. I might not have gotten much higher than a pass, but I passed.
Hey, passing.
Hey, but after Afghanistan, my run time went from like 16-minute to over 30. I couldn't run. And it was just constantly, fighting. Problems. I had a ton of problems getting out. There was all kinds of programs I wanted to get into that I was told no because the unit was going on a deployment to Korea.
Right.
And I'm like, what is a Korea deployment? It's a rotation, and it's not even really a deployment until things get funny. And I've been there when things were funny,
Yeah.
Between that, and basically getting told a lot, hey, you can't get medical treatment from the VA really unless you have a VA rating, and the VA taking forever and a day to rate you. I mean, it took me 6 months before the VA would even start seeing me.
Really?
Yeah. The VA was like, you have to have a rating for us to see you of at least 10%. And I'm like, well, I'm waiting on a rating now. So it was, missing mental health appointments that I needed, medications that I needed, everything. And the DOD only gives you up to 30 days after. On top of that, I was one of the first people in my family since Vietnam to get out of the army.
Oh, wow.
So it was, and the one person who I had, who could have helped me with it passed when I was in. So it was really kind of refiguring everything out for myself and having to learn it day by day.
Right. So, like, once out, how hard was it for you to adjust to civilian life?
It's hard. We as veterans do things different compared to
Yeah.
civilians. Let's be honest. Like if when us texting for this, right? It was
Yeah.
like, hey, how does 12:30 sound, right? And I was like, yeah, 12:30. That sounds great, right? And I was pretty much trying to figure things out starting at 12 because I wanted to be in there for like 12:20 minimum.
Right.
But I go talk to somebody else and I'm like, oh, meet me over here for 1 o'clock or 1300. They're like, okay, and they ain't getting there until 1300. I'm already sitting down waiting to get my stuff started at 1300, and they over here just now getting in. Between that and re-understanding people is hard. Everybody likes to go, oh well, everybody in the military is the same. We're not, and it's the same thing with civilians.
Right.
Civilians aren't all the same. I'll have one, and I'll wear this hat everywhere. I do. This is my going everywhere, doing everything hat. And I'll have some people who are like, oh well, thank you for your service. I really appreciate what you've done. I mean, especially because I walk with a cane now. But then you'll have some people yelling in my face, calling me a baby killer, calling me all kinds of stuff.
Oh, wow.
Without even wanting to talk to me first. Without even wanting to hear my story or the things that I've done. And it's dealing with that. It's fighting the VA. I mean, and you really feel alone when you get out.
Right.
I hate saying that, but it's true. You feel the most alone you ever have. I mean, and because of that, I started drinking real hard when I got out. I'm not gonna lie. It was a real dark point in my life, but I had so much going on and I really didn't know who to talk to about it, you know? And it was just constantly something. That being said, there are a lot of times, in that first 2 weeks where I was like, do I want to just sign another contract and just go back, call this leave and just go back? And I was like, no, I can't. I can't do this anymore. I need to keep with this.
Right.
And it's probably one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Yeah. I'm sorry you had to be called a baby. I've never got called a baby. I've got called other
Hey,
things. I've been called other things, but baby killer,
I've gotten that one a couple of times.
yeah, those are just people that didn't even have I'm gonna say it, the balls to even sign a piece of paper to raise their hand. The people, they don't really understand, without certain things in place, other things will not be protected. Like you
Oh
got
yeah,
the military for a reason, just like you have the police for a reason. Like and for your household, how do you
yeah,
protect your home? You have a firearm. It's certain
right.
things that you do to keep yourself safe. And guess who keeps the United States safe?
It's not like we raised our hand for a reason. It
Right,
wasn't like I was wanting to go out there, but hey, we did it. You
right.
know what I mean?
Hey, I see the glasses, bro. They're prescription. Explain that,
The
because I think I seen
prescription glasses.
I think I seen a video why you always have to wear them. Could you talk a little bit about that?
So I've had a TBI. Same time at literally the same event that my knee got messed up. Basically, I got blown up in Afghanistan. I had an RPG get fired from, about 10 feet in front of me, and it threw me 25 feet back. Or at the time, I was standing on my right leg with most of my weight. So when it threw me, it twisted my leg, and I hit my head pretty hard on some concrete. So I had a TBI, and I got two sets of glasses. I've got my going out in the day and sunlight glasses, and then I've got my I'm out at night or I'm in front of a blue light glasses. And what it is light really kind of messes with my head. It gives me migraines real bad. I went to the VA and they were like, "You've had a TBI?" Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's normal. There's we can't. It's just something to do with. It's one of the common symptoms, and I talk also on my TikTok about how, like sometimes I'll stutter a little bit in my videos and it makes me want to go back through them 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 times. It'll take me 2 hours to do one video, but it's because I know that I'm talking too fast for my brain to catch up, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. And, that'll start giving me a migraine after a little bit, if
Right.
I'm going too fast all the time. And it's one of the things that I've talked about is, I'm not gonna lie, these glasses really help.
Hmm.
It's one of those things that, I'm glad I got them because I promise you, I was having migraines like damn near daily in the summer.
Oh wow.
And now it's, I can at least like go out and if I need to go to Walmart or something, I can go to Walmart. And I can feel fine.
Right. Right. And before I ask you this next question, man, I want you to tell everybody, for one, where could they find you on TikTok? And two, why did you create that content channel, that social media platform?
So I'm on TikTok, Angry Veteran 13. That's me. Um, I'm all over, and I started because my great uncle was a Green Beret in Vietnam. He was a communication specialist. He had multiple Bronze Stars, the Silver Star, 4 Purple Hearts. And at the end of the day, one thing that he taught me before I got in was you take care of, your brothers and sisters you served with, and I'm going to be real, I had my ACL replacement. I'm sitting here fighting the VA, fighting the VA, fighting the VA, sitting here like I can't work anymore. I lost my job because of this. I'm walking around with a cane because of this. There's a probability that I'm never going to, walk really like I'm supposed to because of how bad my knee was messed up. Now I got to do another knee surgery. Now I got to do another knee surgery,
Mm.
constant over and over. And I was like, if I'm going to sit here and I'm going to deal with this, I'm going to start bringing it to light. I'm going to start bringing, my side of dealing with the VA to light because it might not have helped me back then, but it might help somebody now
Right.
dealing with the VA. You know, they might go, well, you know, I see the problems he's having. I'm seeing what he's going through. I know what to get ready for. You know, like if I had known that I should have had, you know, 8 months worth of, you know, my salary saved up before the VA was even going to look at me for, you know, 100% disability, then I would have did that, you
Hmm.
know? And like I said, it's been hammered into me. You know, you take care of the people you served with because ain't nobody else looking out for us.
Oh wow, that's
You
great.
know?
That's the reason why I created this whole Vets Let's Talk, because we really don't communicate as it is, but it's just sharing with other veterans. And you know, I've got some communication from civilians, surprisingly, to say, "Hey, even though I'm not in the military, a lot of what you guys are saying have really helped me out." So you know, a lot of veterans sit back and say, "I don't feel alone," after hearing what you
Yeah.
guys just got done talking about. So, like, what advice would you give someone transitioning out of the military?
Ooh, do I got some? All right. I'll preface this by saying this. Okay. I got in single. I got out single. I don't have any of the tiny humans. No wife, no divorce, no nothing. Okay. It was me. So all of my advice is catered to that.
Right,
Okay. And I'm going to lay that out now, you know, and that's not to say that some of it's not helpful to, you know, if you are married, you do have, you know, kids or whatever, that's fine. But keep that in mind. Number one, I'm going to tell everybody like I tell everybody, right? You need to join a 501c, not VFW, American Legion. VFW personally is my favorite, right? Then you actually got to go to the meetings, you know, and it helps. You know, I didn't find the VFW and the American Legion until a few months into me being home. And it's somebody here with you that you can talk to, you know. So if I'm having one of those moments where I'm like, you know, I'm stuck in my head, you know, I'm having that noise from Afghanistan come back into my head all the time, I can call up my buddy or my commander from the VFW right now, who was also in Afghanistan, and go, hey, you want to come meet me at the bar? You know, we can get some steaks and some drinks and just chit chat. And he will. You know, it helps you with that sense of being alone,
wow,
at least in a community standpoint. And on top of that, you know, a lot of people don't talk about what all the VFW and the American Legion really do for veterans. You know, like the VFW and the American Legion are the main two who are fighting in Congress for veterans. The PAC Act was started by the VFW and the American Legion fighting for veterans,
right.
you know? So, you know, it's about giving back to your community, and it's about, you know, being there for people when they need it.
Hmm.
And that's what I'm all about, you know. My next one is going to be to get a pet, something that's actually going to love you back.
Right.
Something to be home. You have a shitty day at work, because trust me, those days come often, especially when you first get out. Let's be honest. Because I mean, I don't know if I said it, but I mean, I got out in December of 2020. You know, not really the tail end of COVID, but you know, at a point where people weren't really hiring, and it wasn't like, you know, I ended up picking a couple of jobs and I had interviews for them, but you know, they downsized immediately after their hiring teams, and you know, I didn't, or the people that they wanted to hire. So instead of it being like 10 people, it only went to like 4 or 5.
Hmm.
You know, so now I'm out. Now I'm having to get, you know, a shitty job as a security guard, you know, barely making over minimum wage to try to make it through the day, working 12, 16-hour days. You're going to have those days where it sucks. And you're going to have those days in the beginning where, you know, you know, I'm not going to lie. There have been a couple of times where I've, you know, had that thought of, you know, putting that 9 millimeter up to my head. But my dog comes up to me and she'll put her paw on my leg and just look at me with that face. And I'm like,
They
I can't do it.
they know.
They know. They know what's up. And that's why I tell people, you know, get something that's actually going to love you back. And I ain't saying just a dog. You know, I like dogs more, but you like cats, go get you a cat, you know. But I love when I hear people like, oh, I got a goldfish. And my gold, what you gonna do? You know, what's your goldfish gonna do? You know, like I just gotta ask, what your goldfish do? Nothing. Um, don't rush yourself into a relationship. You just go get hurt. Don't be, going out there thinking I just got out the army. Now I want to, get, do some dating and all other fun stuff. Take a minute. Take care of yourself real quick. All right. Get yourself situated. If you ain't got a job, got somewhere to live, and able to take care of yourself, you can't be expecting to take care of nobody else with you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's what I tell, I say that all the time, right? Do not do your VA claim alone. Stop doing your VA claim alone. There is a nonprofit organization called the Disabled American Veterans. They will do your VA claim with you. You need to do it. You need to go make an appointment with them and have them do your VA claim. Because I promise you, they will help you. Right? Call your buddies. I'm gonna be real with you. You go miss those assholes every day. You go miss them. So call them up. Especially as y'all start getting out, you go miss them. And you go wonder about them. And we always talk about in this community, as veterans, hey, when's the last time you talked to your battle buddy?
Right.
And I mean, there have been times where I've called, the guy or my best friend who I talked about earlier in this interview. There have been times where I've called him up and, he understands what I'm going through, and we kind of just work off of each other, Get a hobby. Nobody cares what the hobby is, but you need to get a hobby. I like gaming. I like working with models. I'm trying to work on a model train set right now, but it's something that keeps my mind going, do something that's going to help you decompress the day. It's going to make you, feel something doing it,
Yeah.
If you need help, you need to understand that the help is out there for you. All right. And I think I have it in here again. Yeah. You are never too good for unemployment. You are never too good for SNAP benefits. You're not. If you need that kind of help, get the help.
Get the help.
I mean, right now I'm applying for it. I need the help. It's getting a little hard for me too, because I got bills and I got other stuff I got to take care of, especially right after the holidays. Let's be honest. Look. So, don't think you too good to get help.
Yeah.
You're never too good for help. You're never too good to go out and reach for it, right? You need to have an A plan, a B plan, a C plan, and a D plan at minimum. I had 2 job interviews. I talked about it earlier, lined up. I didn't get either of them, but I had to keep going. I applied for unemployment as soon as I got told no from the second one, and I kept looking for jobs, and you got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing, right? You can't give up on something. Sometimes you got to take a shitty job in the meantime.
Right.
That being said, yeah, better's going to come, but don't wait for just the better. Because let's be real, unemployment ain't gonna pay all your bills.
All right.
It's not, And I'm gonna be real, the VA is gonna fuck you harder than the military ever will.
Yeah, this is
They
true.
really will. And you are gonna have to fight them. And I always tell people, look at what the VA rates things at. Look at how they rate, let's take, for example, depression. All right. Well, if you are going to mental health services for depression, that is an automatic 50%, right? Okay. Well, go back in your medical record. Okay. You've been to the doctor for it, right? What else do they have in there? Okay. With suicidal ideation, right? Go into the VA paperwork, see what they rate stuff as. Okay. Make sure that it's lining up. So this way, when you and the DAV do your VA claim, right, they can see stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? They see what's going on. right? And that way you already have an idea. That being said, you're going to have to fight the VA every step of the way. You really are. You're going to have to fight them. And it might take you 4, 5, 8, 10 months to get your VA claim. Do not think you're going to get it anytime soon. It
Yeah.
took me 6 months to get my initial. It took me 6 months every VA claim after.
Hmm.
And, I say it all the time, the VA people, or the people at the VA who look at claims, only something like 30% of them know what they're looking at
Right.
or what they're looking for, right? 30%. So if they tell you, hey, if you see, well, I'm rated, or I've got this in my medical records, this is what y'all rated at, and y'all rated me, let's say, 10% less. You can appeal it, and I would appeal it. I'd appeal it every day. If you've got the proof and you see it, what they saying, go ahead, appeal it. Appeal it till you get it.
Man, you dropped a lot of jewels, man. That's a lot.
Hey,
I
somebody got
appreciate
to.
I appreciate that, bro. Because a
Hey,
lot of people don't talk about, hey, on your way out of the military, you need to save up a little coin. Hey, you need to check the VA before you get out. Look at
yeah,
your medical records. Go see a specialist. Go to the doctor. That people don't they really don't
yeah,
talk about that. We don't know it. So when we get out, we think we have these problems. We know a lot of times when we get out of the military, we don't think we have problems. That's first and foremost. When we come out, we just think we're okay and we're going to go ahead and get that best job. Misconception that
yeah.
we as veterans have as well. We think we're at the front of the line at a lot of these jobs, and we get out,
No,
I ain't no different
you
than
ain't
nobody
you ain't even
else.
fourth or fifth. Look,
I'm no different than you.
that's what I'm saying.
It's cold out there, man. I thank you, man. Thank you for this interview, bro.
Hey, no, thank you for having me on. I love getting to sit down and just chit chat.
All
So
right.
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for your service, man.
No, thank you. You're the one who got it started for me.
Hey, man, I got a quote I'm about to close out. We must live in the radiance of tomorrow, as our ancestors have suggested in their tale. For what is yet to come tomorrow has possibility, and we must think of it. The simplest glimpse of that possibility of goodness, that will be our strength. That has always been our strength. There's possibility and hope in the things that come on the next day. We might not get it right on this day, but tomorrow is always a brighter day. Look forward to things and look forward to having an uplifting spirit. Whatever you do, find your purpose. You only know what that purpose is. Hey, man, let's talk. Who's up next for formation? Out.